Hi, everybody. I'm Keith from Kelly's Broadway Kitchen. Now, I've been to Naples hundreds of times, and there is so much to see and do there. There's Mount Vesuvius, there's Pompeii, there's Hurculaneum, there's Capri, there's Sorrento. But of all the times that I've been there, I had never been to the ancient city of Hurculaneum until now. So today, we're going to compare Hurculaneum to Pompeii. Join me. In April of 2024, Kelly and I took a cruise on the new Sun Princess, and the trip was fabulous and we loved the ship. One of the first ports of call was Naples. So I decided it's about time I go see the ancient city of Herculaneum. Now, Herculaneum and Pompeii were both buried in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. And Herculaneum is about 20 minutes from Naples, but it is 40 minutes if you're coming from Sorrento. Herculaneum is not completely excavated at this point. It was discovered in 1709, and Pompeii wasn't discovered until 1748, 39 years after they discovered Herculaneum. And yet Pompeii is a much larger excavation site than Herculaneum is. One of the reasons for that is that when they discovered Herculaneum, the city had already started to grow around the excavation site. So you can see in the video that there are apartment buildings built right on the edge of the excavation site. So those people living in those apartments can just like look down into the excavation site from their balconies in their apartments. In their time, Pompeii was considered a working class city. So it was a much bigger city than Herculaneum was. There were probably between 20 and 30,000 people as an estimate living in Pompeii at the time that Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. As opposed to Herculaneum, which was known as a city for the wealthy. It was a playground and kind of a resort town, and it was estimated to only have about 5,000 people living there. So there was a lot more wealth in Herculaneum than there was in Pompeii, and you see that when you go to these cities. The thing I really liked about Herculaneum is that there are actual museums on the site. So you pay your entrance fee, which I don't know, maybe $15 to get in. And you can go into these museums and see all of the things they collected from the city itself. I believe in Pompeii, there is not a museum on site. I think the stuff that was taken from Pompeii was put in a museum, and it is back in the city of Naples. When Vesuvius erupted, people in both cities, of course, panicked. And what they did was they grabbed their possessions, their most valuable possessions, and they ran down to the waterfront, hoping that boats would come and rescue them from the eruption. Some boats probably did make it, but others did not, as you can see from some of the photos that I'm posting as I talk. But the nice thing about Herculaneum is it was buried deeper than Pompeii, and a lot of the tangible items in their homes survived. So you can see that there are gold jewelry, jade trinkets, lots of um, vases and furniture pieces, and there's an actual boat that came to the rescue of the people of Herculaneum that didn't make it, that was also buried with the lava flow or the pyroclasmic, is that how you say that? So it's close. Materials that was being thrown out of the volcano. I was amazed at how well preserved some of Herculaneum was. Here is a video of a courtyard in a home, and you can see that there was a central courtyard with a fountain in it, also beautiful mosaic walls that still remain. And there was a copper bed frame in one of the bedrooms. Um, there are also large bathhouses in Herculaneum. Now, bathhouses was a way of life back then. They had one for women and one for men. It was a social kind of event for people. And there was beautiful tile floors. There was like a locker room area where you could put your possessions. And then they would go into the steam room where there was a large boiler, which was creating steam. And there was a little pool where it can cool off in it. Um, it was very interesting, and the guide that we had in Herculaneum was very good and explained a lot of this stuff. The cost to get into Pompeii at the time of this recording is about $22. And I believe that the cost of getting into Herculaneum was $17. Now, Herculaneum is a lot smaller, as I said, and depending on where you're coming from and how much time you have should determine which of the two cities you should go see. I would see both of them because they are both fascinating and they are both very interesting in different ways. I find that Herculaneum was much smaller and took less time to go through and see, and I felt like I saw the majority of Herculaneum. I believe we were there maybe 3 hours. If you go to Pompeii, you are going to spend at least 6 hours. It is a huge, huge city, and there's a lot of walking around. Now, depending on what time of year you go, is another thing to keep in mind when you're visiting these cities. Like I said, we were there in April. It was the shoulder season, and it was about 83 degrees, and it was very comfortable, but it was still hot. When I was in Pompeii, it was in August, and it was probably 96 degrees, and it was unbearably hot. Whatever you do in Naples, you're going to have a fantastic time. But keep in mind, if you are mobily challenged, it's going to be difficult. Either city is going to be difficult. Herculaneum's a little bit easier because there's a large ramp that comes down from the parking area. You can still access all the museums. You can look into the city from that ramp. But Pompeii is going to be difficult. Thanks for joining me, and please follow us. Kelly and I have a lot of adventures to share with you, a lot of adventures that we took last year, and a lot of things coming up for this year. That's it for now. So long. Thank you.